Yesterday we gone through the understand the process of array, how we will create array, how we can assign the value one by one, and how we can print the value one by one as well. And we also understood the process how we can assign multiple values in a form of loop. Either we can use the while, for, or do while, any of the loop, and how we can display the array collection by using the help of for loop. And here I can also include one more loop. We are displaying the array element using for loop in the study class, but today I'm going to fetch all the elements of that array using for each. As we in the previous class we told you that we will learn for each when we implement array. So that is a declaration of array, how we can declare. So simply you have to use keyword for each. After that you have to assign some create some data type, or data type name should be anything. So for example, I create a data type I, then there is a in operator, and after that you can provide the collection name from which that in operator will pick the value one by one and display by using console.writelight. So what will be the collection name? So in this program, our collection name is this, that contain 4 elements by this for loop. So this is a name of that collection. So simply copy that name, or you can manually write it as well. So this is a simple syntax. Now we are going to display that array element. So instead of displaying array element by index, simply you can write the variable name itself. There is no need to provide any kind of an index or anything. So this is the advantage of for each loop. So there is a no meaning to provide any condition, any increment, decrement, or any kind of initialization of initial variable. You simply declare one variable using this operator, provide the collection name. It will automatically iterate through that collection, pick one by one value element, and display on the UI. So this way we can implement for each. If I execute this process, you can see, let me type 4 element, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a top 4 element that I just entered. And after that, in the program, just after getting the 4 entry, we are just displaying the element, because we are not writing any kind of a message on the UI. That's why the screen is completely blank, and it will appear like a multiple elements in a single line. But if you make it very understandable or simple, you can put a message like that. This is the enter the array element of length, and I can put the length of array. So array having multiple properties. Properties is nothing, a kind of a feature by which we can get some information about that component. So this is one of the property of that array. What are the array names? Simply ARR is the array name dot length. As you can see, length, long length, mean, rank, first, these are the property. This first is a method. The symbol, as you can see, if the symbol is in the form of cube, that means it's a method. See, this is a method. But in a symbol having some kind of a tool appear, that means it is a property. So I'm using this length property. This length property returning whatever the size we are declared in that array. So array is size is 4, that is hard coded. So that hard coded value will be fetched by this length property, and that length property will display that array size on the UI. So user will understand using this message, okay, we are going to enter the element into the array, and how many elements we can enter? Only 4. And just after getting the element, we are saying display array element of length 4. So now the UI will more presentable. See, enter the 4 message. Now displaying the 4 element. Okay. So this is a way to implement array, but this is a single array where only single array. It means there is a sequence of data saved, or only one sequence need to be there, just like that. But I want to store data into the array in the form of row and column, in the form of table. So where we have row and column. So in such case, if you want to use, or if you want to save data, so in the form of matrix, if you want to store the data, then you can go for multi-dimensional array. So multi-dimensional array, if you want to create, then you can provide the matrix value. So that 3 is representing that you are going to create the matrix of 3 into 3. That means total 9 elements need to be entered, or after that it having an element of in the form of rows and columns. So this is the syntax to declare the array of multi-dimensional. So here you can put the comma, and then after you can decide the row and column values. Okay. So now if we create like that, then this single loop will not help here, because single loop only feasible to enter a sequence data, not in a matrix data. But first loop we can go through for that 3 element, and we can create another loop that go through that second array elements. So if you want to add matrix data into the array, then we need a 2 loop at least, so that one loop iterate the element from the rows, and the second loop iterate the element from column. That's why we need 2 loop. And here, so length is almost same. Here we can create a different data type, because I is already defined. And why that I is giving an error of ambiguity? Because this loop is a parent loop and this loop is a child loop. So inside that parent, this I having a scope from this to this. That's why we need to create some different data type. Now we can go for ij++, and here you can specify. So I represent row and j represents column, and we just use console.readline. So whatever the input we receive from the user, is it first enter the data from 0 row and 0 column. Then this column need to be moved, and row will be constant until that loop get finished. Then we will achieve that matrix. I need to remove this, no need. So this process has been completed to enter the data into the array in the form of matrix. Similarly, if you put the data into the array in the form of matrix, similarly we can get the data of array, same kind of a process, because the process is almost same. In that situation, that for each will not help here. We have to go for a while or do while or for loop only. So now the first, this loop will iterate through the row, and this loop iterate through the column. And here we are not assigning data, we are displaying data. So instead of this, we will use console.writeline. and here we can put array which index need to be displayed. So we are saying whatever the index value of I, comma, the index value of j. Okay. So this way we will able to create a multi-dimensional array. So now total length of the array is 9 because we are creating a 3 into 3 matrix. So total elements of that array is 9. So we have to enter 9 elements. 3, 4. Okay, sorry. Out of index. Why it is out of index? Because here we can put the less than 4. But the total length of array is 9. So you can put 9. 9. Sorry, not 9. It's a 3. Because it's a 3 into 3 matrix. So let me put 3 and see what will be happen if we put 3. So now we put the index of array and I want to move that loop till the I value is less than 3. So let me run it. So total 9 elements. So first element is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is a 9 element, and that 9 element need to be displayed here. If this is not appear as a matrix, because you are not going to print like matrix, we are using console.writeLine, and writeLine means every time whenever the value going to display on that console, the line need to be terminated because you are using writeLine. So instead of writeLine, if you use write, and after the first loop exit, we can use writeLine. That means we want to terminate that line after this execution has been completed. See, you can see the difference. See, now it's appear like matrix in the form of rows and columns. So this is the row, first row, second row, and third row. This is the first row, first column, first row, second column, first row, third column. Similarly, our logic will also execute. It will goes to first row, first column, then it goes to first row, second column, then it goes to first row, third column. Then after it switch to the next loop, the parent loop, and the parent loop having a row ID is 2. So the second row, first column, second row, second column, second row, third column, and so on. If you want to debug and try to understand how that matrix is created and how we will fetch that matrix in a form of rows and column, so simply put the debugger here, start the application, put 9 element. Oh, sorry. Now, okay. So now in this local, we can see we have 0 row and 0, 0, 0. It means row value is 0 and column value is 0. In that 0 row and 0 column, the element is 5. As you can see, the row value is still 0, but column got incremented. That column got incremented because of this. Because this for loop will represent only the row. So when the loop goes to this first loop, so I having a value of 0 and conditions is satisfying. So now it goes to the second loop. The j is 0 and j less than 3. It goes to this element. I is 0, j is 0. That means we are displaying an element, the element where that the index of row and column is 0, 0. So now it's displaying the element, and you can see the element in the console. See, the 5 is appearing. Now we can move to the increment part, because this loop A to be completed. It's not completed yet, because that loop need to be moved until that conditions false, because j start from 0 and it is less than 3. So from 0 it appearing the value. Now the j is incremented. Again it goes for checking the condition. Still that condition is true. Now the I is still 0, but j incremented by 1. So now they are printing row 0, but the column index is 1. Now again the j incremented. Again check for the condition. Now I is still 0 because row is same, but the column got incremented and it moved to 2. Because the matrix is 3 into 3, now the condition is false because we are starting with 0 index. So already that 3 elements is printed here. As you can see, already 3 elements is there. So that the first iteration of first row iteration is completed. Now it's terminated. Its console to write line is appearing here. So now when we compile this line, now the line got terminated. As you can see, the cursor moved to the next line. Now again, now this loop is a representing a row. So now I becomes 1. Starting it's 0, but now it's become 1. Now again this loop will continuously running 3 times, because now we are moving and iterating the elements from second row, and that second row is row 1, and the column value is 0, then the column value is 1. So as you can see, the row is 1 and column value is 0. As you can see, the first element of that column is appearing. So similar kind of a thing, it will repeat itself 3 times. Now the I value is 2. Now it's moved to the third row. Again, it repeat this loop 3 times. And after that, this condition need to be false. Console.read line. This is the final output of your program. So this way that matrix is generated. This way our program multi-dimensional array will generate it and work. How you can represent your data on the UI, it's totally up to you. If you want to put some kind of a space or tab, you can do that. You can put /t /n. This is a special kind of a character for some kind of a space on the UI. Now need to remove the breakpoint. So double click here, execute again. Now, so there is a one tab space. One tab space is already there. Why it is there? Because while we are printing the element of array, we concatenate that one tab space. /t represent one tab space. So that's why one tab space is there in the UI. So this is just a representation of data, how you will represent the data in front of UI. Okay, so this is a code of multi-dimensional array. So if you create a multi-dimensional array, it may be 2 into true matrix, it may be 2 into 4 or 2 into 5, or more than 1 dimensional or 2 dimensional or 3 dimensional. Maybe it may be possible you can create an array of 4 dimensional. So whatever the dimension you want to create, you just put here 1 comma, and again you can put the value here. So now this is a 3-dimensional array. So this way you can increase your dimension. That is the syntax. And similarly, you can increase the loop as well. So now if you are working on 2-dimensional, 2 loops are needed. When you are working on 3-dimensional, that means 3 loops are needed, because each loop having a own responsibility to retrieve the data from a specific row and columns. Okay. So this is all about the basic concept of, now we can move to the concept of jump statement. So one jump statement we already used in a switch case, like break. Similarly, we can use continue and return and go to as well. So let me create one project. So the project name, now I the statement. This is the main. So now we want to create and use of, first of all, we can use of continue. So continue basically use continue and break especially. So break and continue generally use while we are creating a such kind of a program where we need to skip few of the steps. Instead of this executing that step, we want to skip that step. In that situation, you can use that such kind of a jump or a statement, or continue or break or return or go to. So just escaping some kind of a step of code execution process. So for example, if you want to create one loop, so let me create one loop. This is I less than equals to length maybe I can put 5, and here I put one condition. If I is less than 3, then it's break. Use of break and continue. Else, so let's see the example of break first. So this is a code, and after that I simply put console dot write line I. So if you see the example here, we just declare one variable, and that variable is started with 0. Here is the one conditions I less than 5, and there is an increment and decrement of that I. And here we are checking the condition if I is less than 3. So at the first attempt, when the I having a value of 0, this condition I think become true. So let me check and debug. So you can debug and see. So at the first condition label, because I having a value of 0, and this condition is true, and when that condition is true, in your screen, nothing is appear, because this console or write line, let me put the read line so that CMD will stable here, and you can see the output. Let me continue and see there is no output. Why there is no output? Because this condition will meet, and if that condition will meet, there is a execution of a break statement. If that break statement get executed, this loop executions break, and after that break statement execution, there is no code execution after this block, after 19 line number. So that kind of features break statement will provide to you based on your conditions, based on your requirement. Whenever you want to break your loop, or whenever you want to break something in your program, don't want to execute, after that statement get executed, you can apply the break and continue statement. So for instance, if I put I greater than 3, okay, then you think what will be the output display on the screen? What do you think? Daniel or Abhishek, anyone can answer. If I put I greater than 3 instead of less than 3. What do you think? What will
It
be the
will
output?
break after the 3.
So what will be the output of this program?
Output, because in the first it will carry on because I is less than 3. After 3 it will break.
So simply the question is, what will be the output of this program? Output, it means on the screen, what value you will
will
see
come.
on the screen
It will
here.
1, 2, 3,
So Daniel, what will be your answer? Answer 1,
2 and 3.
2, and 3.
If
Why
I
1?
is greater than 3, break. So I first will be 0, 1, 2, 3.
Are you sure it's displaying the value of I on the screen starting
No,
with
no, no.
1
Yeah. Right line.
or 0? See, this is the loop.
Okay.
In the loop, the first
Yeah.
statement is this one. The
Yeah. Okay.
second step of the loop is this one. After that, it not goes to that increment part. It's come down in the statement part. Only the first and the second step get executed of this loop. This increment part is still yet to be executed, but it's not executed yet, right?
Okay.
Only
Okay.
the first step and the second step will execute it here. After
Okay.
that, the cursor will move to the statement part. After checking all the statement and after displaying all the information, then it goes to that increment part. Then again it goes to that condition part, and again it goes to that statement. It's never come in this line. Only the first time it will goes to this line, this step. After that, only the third and the second statement will continues until the condition becomes false.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can see the output, it is starting with 0. See,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
0, 1, 2, 3, and after 3, the statement, the loop is break.
Great.
Of break. So whenever you want, when you feel in your program to break something before some kind of a code execution, so you can use break a statement. Similarly, you can use continue as well. So here is the continue statement saying that now the conditions I changed to less than instead of greater than. So how the continue move? Continue is saying when the loop is executing, this is the first step, this is the second step. After the second step, it goes to that statement, is checking that if I less than 3, that is true, that is moved to the continue part. If this continue get executed, again it goes to the this iteration part, not this line. So this is the difference between break and continue. Break is just terminated the loop, but continue statement is used to continue until this conditions has been satisfied. If that condition is satisfying, it continue until that condition is satisfied. If that conditions become false, then it move to the next line. I can show you. Let me put the break line here, or let me comment it out the above one so that both the program get executed. So I don't want to execute both the program. So let me run